do you think's going to win the 2021 NFL MVP?
Yeah, so I think there's a few guys. I'll throw in my dark horse too. I think the top three right now. I know the media especially wants to put the Russell Wilson. I don't think he's there. I think the clear cut top three is the Rodgers, the Mahomes, and then Josh Allen, who, besides a couple of games where he didn't really statistically put out like the best, but their teams are still winning. It was more just other people. He performed like the third best quarterback last year, and their team has been really, really good still going from last year to this year. I think he's right up there, and he's actually the guy who I think will win the MVP. Their team record is going to be really, really solid. They brought back most of their defense. Started Lotulele. He's coming back. That's going to help the run defense. I think an underrated signing was actually Emmanuel Sanders, who, he's not the wide receiver one he once was back with Peyton Manning and Demaryius Thomas there, but he's still a really good two, and I'd say a great three. And they still have Beasley. They still have Gabriel Davis, who was a pretty solid rookie last year. And then, obviously, as long as Diggs can stay healthy, he'll be one of the 5 or 6 best receivers in the league. Their O-line's really solid. And then just another year of Josh Allen's career trajectory. I mean, his accuracy was just such a big problem in college. He came in, his arms, it might be the biggest in the league, to be honest with you. And he's gotten a lot better every single year, and I just don't see that stopping, especially with the talent around them. Eric Daboll, another year with him. He's the OC there. Brian Daboll, sorry. Yeah. But he had his best year as an OC with Allen. I think he'll continue to get better as well. So I look at that, and then just the team record as well. Their defense is solid. So, when you add all that together, I think Allen will be the guy who walks with the MVP award. And then also just another part, like, I feel like voter fatigue maybe not as real with the MVP, but there is a chance that could factor in some way, shape, or form. They might not want to give it to Rodgers. I know Mahomes got pushed for it a lot last year, although he has won before. So that if Allen can do what he did last year and maybe improve on it a little bit, I don't see anyone taking that away from him.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick. I think it's a very popular pick, too. I
think
Josh Allen is definitely top 3 in the odds, and I agree with you. To me, Josh Allen, he's not my pick for the 2021 NFL MVP, but to me, he's a damn good pick. First of all, I think he's one of the 3 best quarterbacks in the NFL. I do. I think it's him. Roger, I think he's third. I think Rodgers is second and Mahomes is first, because the things he did, the Buffalo Bills could not run the football last year. They couldn't run the football. They couldn't stop the run. That's why people didn't believe in them in the playoffs. But they dropped back Josh Allen 50 times a game, and he gave them a 4,500 yard, 70% completion, 37 touchdown season. That is unbelievable. And he's also the best runner on their team, though it seems like Zach Moss has really emerged this camp. And they signed Matt Breida. Maybe that adds something, but I don't expect them to run the ball. I don't particularly love Daboll's run game in terms of the scheme and everything. And then I also don't think they're a very good run blocking offensive line, though they're good in the pass blocking. But to me, it goes back to what you brought up. I think the signing of Emmanuel Sanders is going to make a massive impact. Like he's just a guy who's just really, really good. He's not the guy that you talked about, right? In Denver, that was the number 1 receiver, but he still can get open. He's still very reliable. He still catches everything. He can still line up in all 3 spots. You add that with Stephon Diggs, who actually kind of reminds me of a young Emmanuel Sanders.
Just a little better.
Yeah, funnily enough. Yeah, just a little more explosive young Emmanuel Sanders. And then you bring up Gabriel Davis, who I think will be better. And then, I think they'll have a really, really good team. Their defense is going to be good. Josh Allen is definitely a guy to beat for the MVP. Like, even though I disagree with it, I can't fault anybody for making that selection, because he emerged last year, and it looks like he's not going away. Because I'll even go as far as to say this: he might be the most physically gifted quarterback I've ever seen. Like, his physical gifts are like in the Favre, Elway, Rodgers, Mahomes tier for sure. And he might have a bigger, and he might have a bigger arm than all of them. Like, just physically, he's amazing. And he's huge. He's the biggest guy out of all
of
those guys.
6'5",
he's 6'5", 245. Yeah. He's
big
incredible. Man. Yeah, he's incredible. I expect Buffalo to be really good. And no matter what, I expect him to be in the thick of this conversation, whether he wins it or not. And then I know you wanted to touch on a dark horse real quick before we move on to mine.
Oh, yeah, I would say Stafford. I know he's kind of one of the he's one of like the typical, I guess, dark horse picks, but I think there's a good reason for it, and it's the fact that he's going to a team that has a really, really good offense. They have probably 5 or 6 like solid receiving options. I know Cam Akers is hurt, but Darrell Henderson will probably do fine, especially with McVay calling the plays. And yeah, I mean, it's just going to be the best team he's probably ever been a part of. I mean, the 2014 Lions were really solid, but I think this team's coaching, when you factor that in as well, is going to be better.
Yeah, and if we're here for crediting Matthew Stafford, I'm always here for it. I absolutely think Matthew Stafford could be in the thick of this conversation as well. His passing yards. I think he's already nearing the top 10 in passing yards, and he's only been in the league for 11 years. So tells you how prolific he's been, though he was in Detroit. Obviously, McVay's scheme is going to help them quite a bit. And then they have a ton of weapons. I mean, you go down the list, you have Tutu Atwell and Deshaun Jackson and Van Jefferson kind of hiding in that depth chart to go with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and then Tyler Higbee, and of course the name that Blake and Vish Sports talks about, Jacob Harris. So they have a lot of names, and I absolutely think he could be in the thick of this conversation as well. He would be one of my dark horses, though I'll mention another couple of dark horses when I go, but he's definitely a dark horse. But I think Allen is a great pick. I do. It's not my pick, but it's a great pick.